So welcome everyone to the Gerety Jury Insights from Germany. I'm Lucian Guy, the co-founder of Gerety Awards. And today we will be chatting with some of the members of the executive jury session that took place in Berlin a couple of weeks ago. This was one of the 10 sessions taking place around the world to define the shortlist that was announced yesterday. And you can check on your website to find some great campaigns that were in the shortlist. And today we're going to talk about some of these campaigns. So I will start by introducing, we have Miriam Kuhn, Creative Director at Chosen Friends, Christina Keller, Chief Strategy Officer at DDB Germany Group, and Dora Osinde, CCO of Ogilvy Germany. So welcome and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello.
So as I mentioned, you were all part of the German jury for Gerety that took place in Berlin. So to kick off, can you tell us how was the general vibe of the experience in the jury room?
Sure, I can start maybe. Generally, it's always, specifically in our industry, a special experience when it's a room full of women that work in this industry. So that was really nice. And overall, I also felt we had good conversations, good discussions. And I'm excited to talk about some of the cases that we also all really loved. So yeah, it was definitely a good day for me personally.
I can go next. Yeah, I also deeply enjoyed the day with you all, Dora and team. It was such a respectful environment that we found ourselves in. And what I really did love is we had very controversial discussions. We could have very different opinions and point of views on certain pieces of work. And there was no need to correct this or to convince people. It could just live besides, and this was a beautiful experience. Yes.
Yes, I also can say that I really enjoyed being there. I love what Joe always said, that we have that kind of bullshit detector. So we all had like really strong minds. It wasn't like everyone was like, yeah, it's okay, let's go next. But we had a lot of discussions and I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Great. So yeah, let's talk about some of the work that stood out for you. There were a couple of cases, for example, the first digital nation for the government of Tuvalu that was present in the Works for Good and Innovation Cuts. Who would like to talk about this case?
I can do. As you all know, I'm a former meta maid, so the metaverse is something still quite close to my heart. And this was a case basically that impressed me because it uses the metaverse in a very different and very purposeful way. And there's this little group of islands between Hawaii and Australia called Tuvalu. Basically, this little island will disappear due to global warming and be eaten up by the sea by the end of the century. And in order to preserve the island, the language, the culture, all its beautiful landmarks, they decided to basically transport this island, this piece of country with all the cultural assets into the metaverse. And whilst it's for sure only the second best option to preserve everything Tuvalu has to offer, it was just wonderful to see that the metaverse can be more than just a place for gaming, for fashion or commerce. It can be a space where culture is maintained, where memories can last. And so this deeply, deeply touched me. It's a very contemporary topic, global warming, and metaverse as a place that somehow can conserve culture was a truly powerful idea.
It is a really interesting case. And I think it was also a good example of the interesting discussions we had. I needed a moment with this one. Like when I saw the case film at first, I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. But over the discussion, understanding the implications and specifically understanding the big questions this interesting case is asking, because obviously this is not going to be the first of its kind. There will be more of these situations that we will run into in the next years. And how do we deal with that? How do we answer to these questions? What do I personally think about that? Where should we stand on these issues as like the world or individual governments? That was super interesting. That was super interesting conversation. And that's why I think it's an outstanding case, independent of sort of independent maybe of my first initial reaction of, okay, yeah, you put something in the metaverse. The questions it's asking are super, super exciting.
Yeah, I'm feeling what the others said before, because for me it was not easy to like this idea at first, because I saw a lot of metaverse ideas, and for me it doesn't make sense. That may be because I don't, for me it's kind of Neuland metaverse. I'm not that deep into it. What I really, really loved about this idea is how drastic it is, kind of to put a whole country into the internet. Alone this sentence really feels deep for me, and I think yeah, that is, after all, it's a great idea. People will talk about it, and I guess this is an important point for this idea, not itself preserving, of course, preserving the country into for the future, but also like this, get the conversation started again, or yeah.
There was another campaign that also stood out that was actually from Germany, which is the Glitch for Alzheimer initiative that appeared in the Communication, Health, and several of the craft cuts. Who would like to talk about this one? Christina, I think it was you.
Yeah, I think I really loved it. I really got goosebumps. We're all used to seeing some of the most emotional work in the health category, but I think this piece of work stood out to me because the boldest and best ideas always come out of this deep human insight. And in this case, we were transported in the mind of a woman that has Alzheimer, and we saw the world and the day through her eyes. And basically, by having this camera perspective, we could really sense how it feels for her that those glitches occur, that you lose connection, that you lose moments and seconds during your day where things get blurry and suddenly you can't connect to what had happened before. It comes to a situation where in a supermarket, you suddenly don't know where you are. It comes to a moment where suddenly you encounter your husband as a stranger and get scared by this person that just a second ago was your closest beloved partner. And so being in this mind and really experiencing what it feels if these glitches disconnect you from your life and from the people you love most was extremely powerful to me.
Yeah, I think the point of view works very effectively, right? The fact that you see it from the eyes of the person.
I agree.
Miriam or Dora, would you like to say something about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anyone in my near family or friends that has Alzheimer's, so I guess this could be a reason why that didn't touch me that much, but I think it was lovely made, and yeah, you could really feel the struggles of an Alzheimer patient, so I like this as well.
Okay, so Dora, you chose Gender Swap, which was in the Work for Good cut. So would you like to tell us more about that campaign and why you liked it?
Yeah, gladly, because it's actually one of my favorite cases of the year, maybe. It's a very simple idea, as this always goes. Sometimes the simple ideas end up being the great ones and the really interesting ones. It is targeted towards the gaming industry, where, as we all know, often women are depicted in ways that are very stereotypical, that can be very sexist. And the idea behind Gender Swap is that this group took very well-known game characters or gaming characters and basically swapped their behavior, their movements, the way they use their gestures and facial expressions, and swept male versus female characters. So you suddenly had a Batman moving like a Catwoman, etc., other very well-known characters, And it really only takes you a second or two. You see the Batman walking like this, and you immediately get it. You get how ridiculous some of it is. You get how, dire the consequences of this picture.
Oh, I think we froze.
It also shows the case from that the team actions and got to input in how games are hopefully designed in the future. So to me, this is definitely one of the most interesting cases of the year.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great,
and
easy.
I hope you can still see me and hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yes,
I see you frozen, but
all
you're there.
Okay, fantastic.
Miriam, you were saying?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm totally with Dora. That's an amazing case. I mean, there's a lot of technical stuff behind it, but the result is so easy. You just see how wrong somehow this portraits of women in games is, and it's fun. It's kind of light. It had an impact. I think it's a really great one.
And Miriam, you chose Cry for the Law, the Work for Good Cat?
Yes.
That's one of your favorites?
Yeah, definitely, because somehow it really feels like old school advertising. So there, apparently in Spain, it's not allowed to, by law, to breastfeed your babies in public. And then there was this group that decided to bring a big baby, what's the right word? Not puppet, what is it? Statue. Create this that cries like around the clock. So, and it really helped. So what I love about this idea is that it's so simple. It's like, if you don't allow me to feed my baby in public, then you risk that it cries. So we let it cry. So that was something that really touched me, maybe because I'm a mom and I had my struggles with breastfeed in public as well. But yeah, I really loved it. And apparently they changing the law now in Spain or working on it. So it really helped this case. So yeah, I really loved it.
And how important was the element? Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, no, I just wanted to add,
yes.
I fully agree. It's very similar to the other one we just talked about. The idea is quite simple. Okay, you want crying babies? We'll give you a crying baby. And the effect of it is so impressive. So yeah, I also think it's a really great one.
Okay. Now, I was going to ask, how important was the element of surprise when voting for your favorite campaigns? Was it something that if it surprised you, you considered it better or not necessarily?
Well, I think generally, right, when judging creative, it's never surprise in the sort of gotcha kind of sense, or surprise in the I guess you know where I'm going with this, but sort of when you see something that feels like that's a really interesting take on this, or you're surprised by I haven't seen something like this before, which is very, very hard to do. Then obviously the element of surprise, if you want to put it that way, is super important.
Okay, and a last question to wrap up. What were the key learnings from the judging experience of the work you have seen that you take with you?
I'd rather have a key learning out of this group, coming back to the point Miriam made at the beginning, the bullshit-lessness in the room. And it was so interesting because we watched the work and sometimes there was zero comment and we could move on in seconds because there was just this silent agreement of not feeling the quality being quite enough. And then there were other cases where we discussed. And so there was a mutual understanding for quality in the room because our intuition still tells us instantaneously if an idea is really strong. And this was a beautiful observation.
Yes, what I really loved was a special situation because we talked really hard about a case that was from one of the other women in the room. And we were it was a good case, but there was some part that we all didn't like, and it wasn't like that the creators were like, don't judge my work that hard, you don't get it, blah. But it was like, yeah, okay, tell me more. Maybe we can work on it. Maybe we can change something. And it was really felt like that it really, yeah, mattered what we say. And yeah, maybe the work will get even better than it was. I really loved it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that was actually, that was a really beautiful moment. And now that you're saying it, thinking about it, you're right. This would have probably gone very differently in other spaces that we're sometimes in. And another, I think it's nice that the work is quite broad from like very many categories with very different kinds of work. That was really nice to watch and usually helps, you know, to bring back some good cases to show to our teams and to bring back some ideas that you want to discuss with your teams. That I really like. That usually when you're part of this jury, it's different from other juries where you're part of that like one specific category, that one specific niche. That's the only thing you're going to see all day. That can sometimes feel, you know, a little limiting maybe. So this is very, very
Okay. I see you frozen. Oh, okay. Well, I think we're gonna stop here. Is there anything else you would like to add before we go? Well, thank you so much then for being part of the panel, and thank you so much as well for being part of the Gerety jury. And congratulations also on the hard work you did so that we can have a great shortlist.
Thank you.
Thank
Was a
you.